Good morning. It's Friday. Once again, we've made it to the end of the week. Success. Well, we still have to do today, but we're getting there at least. And what the fuck are they doing with my drive now? Fucking asswipes. Absolutely fed up with this. Anyway, not gonna start ranting about workmen. No, I'm not. Anyway, D&D. Today's topic: evil and good in society. In your world, how do people view the world? I kind of have this feeling in a lot of cases that when people start talking about moral ambiguity in D&D, a lot of people might kind of go the wrong way about it. I've heard things like, well, if I grew up in Drow society, then killing people and assassinating them and, taking what I want by force would be considered good things. And there are rare cases where that could be true. But it's not the norm. It's not the norm. It shouldn't be the norm, at least. For me, it's not the norm. The thing is, the words used, the descriptions used, will probably still be the same, but they will have a different connotation. The ideas of good and of helping others and of being generous will still mean the same things in Drow society as they do for the rest of our society. But when a Drow hears about someone being good or generous or kind, they won't take that as a positive thing. They will hear good, kind, generous, and what their mind will translate those words to is weak, helpless, gullible. They're still describing them using the same terms, but they have a different meaning to the Drow. They will, the word evil, selfish, ruthless, those words will still be there, but when the Drow hear them, what they will hear is proud, efficient. They will use the same descriptions, but they will not mean the same thing. Now, what that means is that you could, in theory, have an evil society which would still have a large number of good people in it. However, those good people living in that evil society would end up being the weak underclass. If you think about it like that, if you look back at any standing where in a book or a movie or a TV series, anything like that, anytime evil comes into power, you always end up finding either the weak, the poor, the oppressed are willing to help the good guys because they don't really like the evil, they just can't do anything about it, or you will find an active kind of resistance movement out of the weak, the downtrodden, the poor. And the reason for that is, well, if you think about normal, what we would consider normal society, where ostensibly, good is on top. And what do we talk about then? The criminal underbelly. We talk about the dregs of society and all the dark and evil things that they do. We talk about the poor and their thieving and their basically, in a good society, your evil gets pressed to the bottom because they don't fit the norm. In an evil society, it will be just the opposite, and your good people will be pushed to the bottom of the barrel. So, what then becomes interesting when you actually start to look at it that way is what happens when a society changes. What happens when you have a good society that is then taken over by an evil power? And you have a population that up until now, the good have been in favor. The good have been the wealthy, the rich, the influential, and the evil have been the dregs at the bottom of society. But now, a new ruler comes into power, and the virtues of evil are more acceptable to the Lord, to the government, than those of good. Well, a couple things are going to start to happen. First off, that criminal underbelly, those evil people who have been stuck at the bottom because they weren't powerful enough to push their way to the top, but they were too evil to fit in with the normal good society, all of a sudden, they're going to start working their way up the ladder. Because all of a sudden, those things that they were already doing gain praise instead of condemnation. So all of a sudden, those people are going to start becoming more influential. The other thing that's going to happen is all of these good people that were set at the top are going to start getting knocked down. Because if you have an evil ruler and he says, I want to do this, and all of the nobles who are good say, oh no, we don't want that, he's evil. He's just going to start executing them. Or at the very least, taking everything from them. So, your nobility, your good, high-class people, start dropping. Or, and this is the other thing that sometimes would happen, the people who were at the top of that ladder, who weren't actually very defined by good, but wanted to be at the top of the ladder, who at the time had realized that being good gets me to the top of the ladder, will start to look at things and go, wait a minute, now being bad takes me to the top of the ladder, I'll start doing that. And what in a D&D setting you would normally find is the case here is that you actually had neutral people, or possibly even evil people, who were behaving in a good manner because of what it gained them. I want power. I'm neutral or even evil, but I know that if I behave in this way and appear to be this way, I will get power. And so they have done. And what happens here is that veneer is torn away. They say, wait a minute, now if I behave this way, I'll get power. And that sounds like more fun too. I'll do that. So you end up really with three classes of people. You come up with the evil that are moving up, the truly good who are moving down, and those who gave the appearance of good but were in fact not, who are holding their own. And that's basically what's been going on for the last 20 years in the game I'm about to start running. They had a good king. He was killed. They now have an evil emperor. And, yeah, I think I'm going to close it off there today. Just consider alignment in your campaign and how it affects the social aspects of the game. What is the societal norm? How is it viewed? What traits are encouraged? Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow.